The Astros homestand continues tonight as the Milwaukee Brewers come to town for a 3-game set. Ryan Braun and company come in on a high note after sweeping the Reds at home. Bud Norris takes the mound for the Astros. He looks for his first win since May. So grab a snow cone and some cotton candy. Astros baseball is next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros open a 3-game weekend series against the defending Central Division champion Milwaukee Brewers. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays, and the Astros begin this brand new series against the Brewer Club, which just swept Cincinnati and has played well against Houston this year, JD.
And on the mound tonight for the Houston Astros is Bud Norris. He'll be making his 4th start against the Brewers. He's got a win, a loss, and a no decision against Milwaukee this year. You see a pre and post All-Star breakdown for Norris, 5-6 with a 4.71 before the break, 0-3. ERA of 6.14, but he's made some good starts in this recent stretch. He had one real ugly one in Arizona that really pushed up that ERA.
Mark Rogers, his mound opponent, is looking for his first Major League win. Brett Wallace had the big 2-home run game at Milwaukee on a recent road trip. We'll see how the Astros fare tonight against the Brew Crew in just a moment.
Baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by the Progressive Insurance Group. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. We're inside the Dome on Minute Maid Park, I should say, on Flashback Friday night, remembering the last year of the Dome with the uniforms the players are wearing. Milwaukee versus Houston. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays, they're ready to get us going.
Thank you, Greg. And let's get off and running with the Hyundai starting lineup for Ron Renicky and the Milwaukee Brewers, who are 51-59. They go with Carlos Gomez in center field, Nyjer Morgan in right, Ryan Braun in left. Aramis Ramirez at third base, Corey Hart at first, Ricky Weeks at second, Jonathan Lucroy the catcher, Gene Segura the shortstop, and Mark Rogers on the mound.
It's been 11 starts since Bud Norris has last been a winning pitcher. He's 5-9 with a 5.07 ERA through 20 starts. Very, very good here in this ballpark.
He certainly has been, and he's only had 7 starts here, rather, JD. So I'm sure he'd like a lot more.
Yeah, he's like, come on, man. Look at the numbers. Run me out there at home.
You bet.
2.12 ERA, 7 home starts, 7.08 ERA, 13 road starts. It's just goofy the way the schedule's broke down to have that many more starts on the road than at home.
It has been weighted and not in his favor. Carlos Gomez, with no balls, 2 strikes, 256, 10 homers, 30 runs batted in. He's going to play a lot, Ron Renicky says, from now on in center field. His bat has heated up. He is a guy who can steal a base. He has 21 steals in 26 tries. But this time Norris strikes him out.
And that is the fatal flaw for Carlos Gomez. He swings and misses an awful lot. Tremendously talented player. Can really run. He has a lot of pop in that bat. But he strikes out a whole lot. Hey, there's new face in left field. It's a Martinez, but instead of JD, it's Fernando, fresh up from AAA. Bogasevic gets a start in center. He hasn't had many of those lately. Pierce is in right. Wallace, Gonzalez, Altuve, Moore third to first. And Carlos Corporon is just calling a wonderful game so far.
There's ball 1 to Nyjer Morgan. 232 for Nyjer, 3 homers, 10 runs batted in. He took Bud Norris deep in Milwaukee, July 30th. Swings at that one. Bring the count to 1-1.
Fastball, slider, primary weapons for Bud Norris. Occasional changeup, but he doesn't use it that much. He'll change the arm angle on his slider a little bit, make it a little harder, a little softer, depending on what he's trying to accomplish.
He's trying to snap an 8-game losing streak tonight. He's 4-3 lifetime against the Brewers with a 4.5 ERA. Ryan Braun on deck. Brewers swept the Astros in Milwaukee the end of July, 1st of August. That's a liner, and it's slicing and going into the seats. And they had quite an offensive series against the Houston pitching staff at Miller Park, scoring 31 runs in 3 games there. Well, Milwaukee has won 16 of its last 20 from Houston. Brewers set a club record in wins with 96 last year as they won this division by 6 games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This year a much different type of year, and they're currently 11.5 games out in the wild card race.
Still a good offensive club. They're in the top tier, maybe 5th in the league in runs scored. They hit a lot of home runs. The pitching has been disappointing. The bullpen's been abysmal.
Yeah, in fact, they now have gone with rookie Jim Henderson as their closer. Swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. Morgan, whoa, the ball gets away from Carlos Corporon, and Morgan winds up reaching first base on that strikeout, and it's ruled an error on Corporon. And here comes Brad Mills now to talk with Jerry Meals.
Slider in the dirt, swing and miss, and then Morgan on his way out kicks it not once but twice, and it changes directions on Corporon.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not intentional, I think he's okay. I mean, I don't know that I've seen this in a good long while.
True. I believe you're correct on that one, that he was not intentionally trying to affect the baseball, but he just actually kicked it without trying to. So Jerry Meals is explaining the call to, or non-call, to Brad Mills. And there's a runner at first with 1 out.
The really unfortunate thing for Corporon is not that Morgan kicks it once but twice, because here it's going up the line and Carlos has got it, and then it hits the back of his foot and right back through the 5-hole, and that and I'm not so sure you could. I don't know how you charge an error on the catcher on that one. I mean, you got to account for him getting to first base somewhere. I would say wild pitch because the ball was in the dirt. That's a tough error on the catcher.
Ryan Braun is the batter. Braun having another big year. And he hits one over the third base bag, up the left field line into the corner. Nigel Morgan, a very speedy runner, is being waved home. And Braun's into second as the Brewers take a 1-0 lead on his RBI double. That ball just inside the third base bag, and Braun, with his 21st double, gets RBI number 76 of the year.
Yeah. Brewers take advantage of the misfortune for Norris and Corporon, with Morgan reaching on the strikeout, and then Ryan Braun does what he always seems to do against the Astros, get big hits and drive in runs. .348 was his batting average against Houston prior to that swing. That's career. That's not this year. .348 lifetime against Houston for Braun.
Morgan reached on a strikeout, and he scored the first run on Braun's 76th run batted in. He's tied for third in the league in runs batted in. Now another one in the dirt, and that's ball one to Aramis Ramirez. He has driven in 70. He has 15 homers and a .294 average. So Ramirez and Braun are both undeterred by the lack of success of this Brewer club in terms of their own offensive numbers. Ramirez leads the league in doubles with 37. And he's ninth in runs batted in. Foul back, and it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. Astros making changes after the game last night, optioning both Matt Downs and J.D. Martinez to AAA Oklahoma City. Here's another guy with great career numbers. 41 homers, 139 runs batted in against Houston. And Tyler Green is here. And of course, as J.D. mentioned, Fernando Martinez in left field. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ramirez has hit .408 over his last 19 games with 29 hits and 71 at bats.
One of the best in the league since the All-Star break. .368 for Aramis.
The fly ball hits for right center. Steve Pearce with the catch. Braun will hold. It's out number 2. And Corey Hart will give it a shot. Astros are 3-2 here at home against Milwaukee this season. Hart, with 21 homers, has driven in 55. His batting average is .269. He's played a very good brand of first base since moving to that position. The infield shifts around for him. So Scott Moore is the only infielder between first and second. He is a long way off the first base line, as you can see there.
Yeah, it could create a real funky play there if Hart were to hit one to Moore's right. Bud would have to cover first. Hart had a base hit to the right side of second base against this shift in Milwaukee, but usually on the ground. If he hits it on the ground, he's going to hit it on the left side.
Hart takes the Norris fastball. It's good for a strike, and it's 1-1. But losing in Atlanta Sunday, giving up 4 runs in 6 innings. Had a 1-1 game until the 6th. Paul Janisch had a 2-run single. And it's just been that difficult situation for most of the Astros starters to get the run support, pitch well, defensive support, and get a W this year.
For the most part, in his recent starts, he's thrown the ball well. He pitched pretty good over in Milwaukee. A couple of those head scratchers, you got to be kidding me moments, like when Nigel Morgan took him deep. And then in Atlanta, it was a wild pitch in advance of the 2-run single by Janisch. Stuff that just keeps you up at night. How did I let Janisch drive in those 2? How did I let that pitch get away? Things of that nature.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, the game in Milwaukee you're talking about, when he had the 3-0 lead, was so weird. Gave up the 2 runs. He came out of the game, still had a 3-2 lead with a man on base. That man scored, and he got a no decision, and the Astros lost a wild one, 8-7. So he has not won since May 21st when he beat the Cubs here. And at that point, his ERA was 3.14. Swing and a miss there by Hart. He strikes out. That's the 3rd strikeout of the inning, but the Brewers get a run on 1 hit, and they leave a man. They're up 1-0. First is coming. We check the Astros Hyundai starting lineup for Brad Mills. Jose Altuve at second base. Marwin Gonzalez shortstop. Brett Wallace third base. Steve Pearce right field. Scott Moore first base. Brian Bogusevic center field. Fernando Martinez left field. Carlos Corporan catcher. Bud Norris pitcher.
And the Astros will take a look at right-hander Mark Rogers tonight for the Brewers. Up from the minor leagues. He's made just 2 big league starts. He's 0-1 with a 5.91 ERA. He struck out 12 in 10 2/3 while walking just a couple. And defensively, it's Braun, Gomez, Morgan in a speedy Brewer outfield. Ramirez at third. Segura, the prospect acquired from the Angels in the Zach Greinke deal, takes over at short. Weeks and Hart on the right side, and Jonathan Lucroy is behind the plate.
Jose Altuve steps up. Altuve at 298 with 5 homers has driven in 30 runs. And Jose in the top 10 in hits. He is 9th with 125 hits this season. Will this be Mr. Rogers' neighborhood for his first major league win? That's way up for ball 1.
Rogers a hard thrower. Fastball sits right around that 94-mile-an-hour mark. He's got a slider, a curve, and a change. A former #1 pick of the Brewers back in 2004. 5th overall pick in the draft that year. It's been a long grind for him, including a couple of years lost to injury.
He's from Brunswick, Maine. Last year he had right wrist surgery and he was suspended for 25 games. It's a 2-ball 1-strike count to Jose Altuve.
Yeah, he was a lobsterman. His dad was a lobsterman. He worked trapping lobsters with his dad.
Hasn't been able to trap a win so far, as you have indicated. That one's out of play.
It's a tough go right now because the price of lobsters is way down up there.
Oh, okay.
Very bountiful lobster harvest this year.
All right.
All right, she's smiling. Looks like she took one off the hand, but she's going to be okay.
Friday night crowd out for the Flashback Fridays, wearing those shirts from the 90s. Very popular back in the Killer Bees era.
Who's on deck? Ricky Gutierrez?
Could be, but it's Marwin Gonzalez. Yeah. Goody had some good games. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Modern day version of Ricky Gutierrez. Marwin Gonzalez playing a good brand of shortstop. Now he has Tyler Green backing him up. Tyler joining the ball club tonight from the St. Louis Cardinals in a trade for either a player to be named or cash. And a foul ball there. Keeps the count full on Jose Altuve. Jose has hit .457 against Milwaukee with a homer and 6 runs batted in this season. Nice clean look from the 90s. Altuve went 5 for 17 against the Nationals with their vaunted pitching staff, and it is a good one. And that's without having to face Steven Strasburg, who's pitching tonight for the Nats in Arizona. That's a leadoff walk for Altuve. And he was talking about that last night. He said they're walking me a lot more this year. That's part of the adjustment that he's made. He said, what did I walk last year? 4 times? And he's well aware of it. And he was so aggressive last season. And he's a different kind of hitter so far this year in terms of being willing to take some of those walks.
Yeah, it kind of comes and goes. He'll go through stretches where he's maybe overly aggressive, go out of the zone to try to make contact, and there are other times where he seems to be patient and able to work walks, and right now he's in a little bit of a patient mode.
Hart plays off the bag toward the pitcher.
If he walks a lot, as long as he walks enough to combine with his batting average to give you that good high on base percentage at the top of the order, and he's been able to do that.
It's like Hart is trying to get a head start toward a possible bunt by Gonzalez here.
It's also making it awfully hard for Jose to see around him, to see the signs.
He is.
Kick him in the shin.
It's unusual positioning for a first baseman. He has moved from outfield to first this year. He's been excellent. Pitch out.
I was thinking maybe the Astros would play a little hit and run. The Astros have been doing some running here lately. especially when up against a team like the Brewers that have so much power, and you figure they're going to put some runs on the board.
Now the Astros have scored 52 runs in 11 games against Milwaukee, hitting 10 homers with a .282 average. So they've been able to hit well against this Brewer pitching staff, which has struggled at times. And now, of course, has traded Zach Greinke. 1 ball, 1 strike. Thomas Ramirez off the line and at the edge of the grass there at third base, with Altuve taking his lead. He has 23 steals in 30 tries.
Astros saw Rogers once before with the Brewers in 2010 out of the bullpen. I think he made a couple appearances against them. 6-6 down at AAA this year. With a .472 ERA, but he had been pitching well when he was called up. He was 3-1 with a .188 ERA in July.
Sean Markham is still trying to work his way back to this Milwaukee starting rotation. Altuve's going. There's a ground ball right to the second baseman, Weeks, who flips for the force play and then back for a double play. It was quick at second base with Altuve jumping over the baseball, but Weeks got it to Segura, and it was a 4-6-3 double play.
Well, how about Ricky Weeks? I think a lot of second basemen would have assumed no play at second and just gone to first. The backhand flip gets one, and then the good turn by Segura easily gets Gonzalez for the double play.
Very slick.
And if you knew the way it was all going to turn out, if you're Altuve, you just let the ball hit you.
Right, yeah. And then it's dead. And you're out.
Just goes against your instinct. I mean.
Yep. Strike to Brett Wallace. 319 for Brett, 4 homers. He's driven in 8.
One, you're not sure that they're going to come to second base to try to get you when you're that far along.
Wallace was 4 for 11 in the Washington series. Had 3 hits last night to tie his career high. In Titan, it's 1-1. Brad Mills was asked why Wallace at third and Moore at first, and he said, well, Wallace has been playing a lot of third this year. And he said, you know, Moore could play third, but Moore got hit by a pitch on the knee last night too. So he said, you're probably going to see a fair amount of Wallace at third base from this point on.
Yeah, I think it's all about discovery, figuring out who can do what as we look to the future. And if Wallace can play third base, and you got Singleton coming up through the system, you may be pretty well set at the corner infield spots.
I don't think you can assume that Wallace can play first base well. So it's about, as you said, discovery to see if he can play third well and give the club more options. 3 balls and a strike. Steve Pearce is on deck. Wallace in the number 3 spot tonight against the right-hander Rogers. It's 3-2 now. Rogers coming off a 6-1 loss at St. Louis Saturday. Gave up 7 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings, including 1 long ball in that one. Wallace hits one out of play. Still a full count. The Astros would love to answer Milwaukee's first inning run. Trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. They're 36-77. And they'll be here through Sunday against this Milwaukee club. Go to Chicago and come right back after 3 on the road. Strike 3, and that will do it for the first with a double play and a strikeout for Rogers and a 1-0 Brewer lead.
Second, of course, the Astros wearing the 1990 uniform tonight, and this whole month of August, the Astros are remembering the 1990s as part of their 50th anniversary celebration. So join us this coming Sunday when these two teams wrap up this series. 10,000 fans will receive a retro umbrella courtesy of HEB. Get your tickets to be here at Astros.com. A lot of folks could use that umbrella tonight, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Not in this building, of course, but outside. Got some nasty storms blowing through.
Saw some dark clouds out there in the distance before the game. Now the skies are getting lighter out there across downtown. 1-0 Brewers. Ricky Weeks takes, and there's ball one to the second sacker with 12 homers, 39 runs batted in, and a .212 batting average. Weeks puts this one in the air, and Wallace watches it drift, and now it may have hit the roof as he puts on a little burst. Didn't see any indication from an umpire. Yeah, we did. Okay. That hit the roof structure, and if it does so above foul territory, it's not playable. But that little guy.
He's not a happy little guy.
No.
He's very sad.
He needs a little cheering
Let's
up.
get that guy a little cup of Bluebell or something. Let's take care of that young man.
I'll turn him around.
I'm sure he has a good time at the ballpark.
2 balls, 1 strike now for Norris. And Weeks leads the Brewers in walks with 56. He ranks 5th in the National League. That's in the dirt for ball 3. Weeks is 2 for 13 against Norris with a homer in his career. His average was 162, but in the last 46 games he has raised it by hitting 277. By Wallace under his glove into the left field corner. A hard hit skimmer, and Weeks goes into second base. That's ruled a double. I don't think Wallace was able to touch that ball. It was hit very sharply, and Weeks gets his 22nd double.
You know, he's sliding over to cover the line a little bit, just a little late reacting to get the glove down. Wally came up as a third baseman, signed as a third baseman, and then during his minor league career was moved over to first base. So it's been a while since he's played a lot of third base.
Catcher Jonathan Lucroy was going like a house of fire when he broke his hand this year. Very good offensive season for Lucroy. 327, 6 homers, 33 runs batted in. And that's strike one to the catcher. An excellent defensive player as well. Jonathan in late May went out with a broken hand when a suitcase was dropped on his hand. 26 years old, from Eustis, Florida. Went to Louisiana Lafayette. That's smacked foul.
That must be a catcher's factory. Isn't that where Paul Bacco went?
Oh, yeah. Sure is. This is the 4th time this year the Brewers have faced Bud Norris.
They've won 1-1 so far.
Okay.
A win, a loss, and a no decision for Bud against the Brewers. We've reached a tipping point.
There's a bouncer off Norris's foot. It goes to shortstop, and Gonzalez tried to barehand it but dropped it. Well, Lucroy will get an infield hit off that one, and all kinds of things buzzing around Bud Norris in this one.
Yeah, we got some funky going on tonight, boy. Got the strikeout off the feet of Morgan that turns into a base runner. And we got the highest hacky sack baseball in the history of the sport right here off the heel. I mean, this thing's in the air a good long while. Gonzalez contemplating a bare hand and throw play. It may ultimately have been a good thing that he didn't get the handle on that, because I don't think he was going to have a play, and he may have thrown it away in his haste.
True. 22-year-old rookie Gene Segura, who just came up from the minor leagues after the Zach Greinke trade took him from the Angels to the Brewers, is 1 for 10 as a big leaguer with 1 RBI. He's from the Dominican Republic. There's strike one to Segura.
The good news is Jerry Meals behind the plate tonight. Looks like he's going to have a fairly generous strike zone. Bud's a strikeout pitcher, so even though he's in a bit of a bind here, he's got the rookie Segura up here, then the pitcher, and then Gomez. So he can really do a nice job here of minimizing the damage if he executes his pitches.
In the dirt, this kicks away, and a run will score to make it 2-0 on another wild pitch. Lucroy taking second with Weeks touching home plate. Another wild pitch for Norris.
Carlos having a hard time blocking that ball as it kicked back the other way.
Now a 2-run lead, a runner at second, and Segura will have a 1-1 pitch coming next. He was signed by the Angels in 07 as a free agent. 1-2.
Last couple of years he's been in Baseball America's top 100 prospects.
He was ranked the Angels' #2 prospect this season by Baseball America. Lucroy with that broken right hand protected. A little roller goes to first. Norris will pick it up and tag him. We're out number 1. Lucroy taking third. One unassisted play, bringing up Rogers.
But showing a little athleticism, bouncing off that hill, tracking down the ball, and then more impressively tracking down Segura.
Yeah. Infielders are moving in with Mark Rogers batting. Rogers is 0 for 3 this season. He has 1 major league hit in his career and 5 at bats. They come in tight with the Brewers up 2-0.
Situation here where you always have to consider the possibility of a squeeze.
And strike 1.
Norris with that good stuff. Be tough to get a bunt down.
Ed Cedar with signs. Brewers have really struggled on the road. They've lost 9 in a row away from Miller Park. They're 18-33 on the road. Fastball foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. Astros are 0-4 on this homestand. They are 3-24 since the All-Star break. Jason Castro is to catch 9 innings tonight for Oklahoma City and 9 more innings tomorrow night. And if that continues to go well, as his rehab process has gone so far on the injured right knee, he could be back by the time the Astros go to Chicago for the Monday night opener of the 3-game road trip. Swing and a miss by Rogers, or a foul tip for a strikeout, and that's number 4. A reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. 2 outs now, the infielders back up, and it's Gomez batting. Gomez led off the game with a strikeout. Very interesting player, multi-talented, tremendous defensive player in center field. Speedy, big time arm. That's a foul tip, strike 1.
And always entertaining.
He is.
He can turn a little fastball inside into all kinds of dramas. The feet kick out from underneath. He's bouncing around.
You're right. He is not dull at all.
Very animated.
Got some body language.
Feel that quick twitch muscle fiber. Things happen quickly with him.
They really do. No balls, 2 strikes.
With that home run recently, that wasn't a long foul ball, but he ran all the way around the bases. Thought he'd gone deep.
He is quite capable of spectacular defensive work. And last year he had a broken left collarbone, had to have surgery on that in late July. And with Nigel Morgan not getting on track, Gomez has been coming in for more and more playing time in center field. Morgan in right tonight. JD mentioned, even though some of these Brewers are not hitting the stride they were in last year, they're still 5th in the league in runs scored. They're 5th in total bases.
Having lost Prince Fielder and then a couple critical injuries early.
Strikeout, and that is out number 3. It's 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. It is 2-0 Brewers.
Two nothing ball game. The Brewers lead the Astros. Bottom half of the second upcoming. How about a little AT&T trivia as we gaze upon the Lone Star Santas out for another ball game. Ron Renneke has 147 wins as the Brewers manager. Who's the club's all-time leader in wins as a manager? All-time winningest manager for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, we can consider Phil Garner and Harvey Keene.
Yeah, that's good right there.
Steve Pearce takes ball 1 from Rogers, leading it off in the home second inning. 346 for Pearce, no homers. He's driven in 4. Who else comes to mind for you?
Phil Garner.
Okay.
Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
I mean, Ned Yost, manager for a few years, but I want to say Gar.
Okay. 1 ball, 1 strike. As Rogers has been backed by a 2-0 lead. And there's a chopper. Shortstop Segura coming in, making that play for out number 1. Let's see if it's Gar. AT&T will have the answer for us coming up. It is Gar, 563 from 92 through 99.
His first year there, 92, they won 90, right around 90, 92 ball games, came in second.
Yeah, they were in the race.
In the AL East, because that was before the 3-divisional format started.
Scott Moore, a 219 hitter. Looks at that one for ball 1. 5 homers, 14 runs batted in.
Guess it would have been Toronto, right? In 92, winning that division.
Yes. Foul back, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count to Scott Moore with Bogusevic on deck. Astros would like to get this crowd going. A leadoff walk, but then that was followed by a double play ball in the first inning, and then a strikeout. Kept things quiet. This one gets by Lucroy. It's a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Well, Rogers had pitched 10 2/3 innings in his first 2 starts, giving up 13 hits, including 2 homers. And he would like to be able to settle in for this road game with the early run support that he has been given. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's going to be a pitch you're going to have to lay off tonight. That powerful 4-seam fastball up there, above the belly button. Is very difficult to do anything with that one.
In the air, foul and out of play. Still a 2 ball, 2 strike count. In 07, Rogers missed the year with right shoulder surgery. In 08, he had more surgery for scar tissue. Last year, right wrist surgery. It has been a long and winding road for him since being the 5th overall pick in the 04 draft. And Moore strikes out. That's number 2 for him.
I thought it was a high slider up there. Getting the swing and miss from Scott. I think that's where he wanted to throw that pitch, but he got away with it.
Brian Bogusevic went 0 for 2 in the Washington series. Brian, with a .210 batting average, has 6 homers. He's driven in 22 runs. Playing center field tonight. Justin Maxwell made a terrific catch in center last night up on Towles Hill. There's strike 1. Bogusevic has appeared in a club high 105 games. 1 ball, 1 strike. So there's been outfield movement in the Astros system with the transactions the last 24 hours. JD Martinez headed down to Oklahoma City. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jimmy Paredes remains there, and Brad Mills was asked about that tonight before the game. He said, we just don't think that he's played that many games in the outfield. We need to get more of a read on him. Bogusevic is down on strikes. That's 3 for Rogers, and he leads it 2-0.
Last inning, a young fan down here near the field took a hop off of a step back here. It came back, plonked him on the head. So he has to be the fan of the game, right? He has to be. This is, who is our child here?
Preston Jones.
And you are?
Vicky.
And Vicky, described what happened. It bounced back here, right?
Yes, it bounced back, and I didn't even see it coming, so it just hit his bill.
Hit him on the bill of the cap.
Yes.
He was saved by the bill. So, guess what, Preston? You're going to be the fan of the game. Are you excited about that? Yeah, of course he is. He's clutching the ball, and he won't let that go for a while. He's already a big Astros fan, right, Vicky?
Oh, yes. Since before he was born.
Since before he was born. Now that's a fan.
Possible.
All right, buddy. I know you're working on the cotton candy there, but we can't have our fans having a bad experience like that. So I threw in a little Cracker Jack, a little Minute Maid frozen ice cream. We don't normally, let out the contents of the magic bag, but in your case, we're going to make an exception. You're the fan of the game, buddy. Okay?
Say thank you.
They've already got the blue and gold gear going. They're into it, guys. Back to you.
Good work, Bart. Down there amongst the people, finding the important stories at Minute Maid Park. 2 balls and a strike. Cute little guy. I think you changed his mood, Bart.
Yeah, he just didn't know what to make of it all. Why is this guy in my face? I'm trying to watch the game.
Your children.
Got a 5 spot down on the Astros tonight with the kids at preschool.
I frighten children, so I'm going to get them in the bag and get out of here as quickly as possible before he starts crying.
We wanted to see Nigel Morgan bat. Now that's been disrupted.
That's the thing. I mean, I got to see if Norris is getting his first pitch slider over tonight.
Well, you cheered him up. Good going, Bart. That's out number 1. Morgan reached on that error by Carlos Corporan in the first inning on the ball that was in the dirt, and Phil Boudreau looked up rule number 709. It's interference by a batter or runner when, after a 3rd strike, he hinders the catcher in his attempt to field the ball. Well, the home plate umpire, Jerry Meals, ruled that he didn't hinder him. He just accidentally, the ball hit his foot. So that was his ruling, apparently.
Be interesting to hear an explanation. And then the other interference calls that deal with the ball usually talk about deliberate and willful interference of the ball.
Braun takes a strike that evens the count at 1-1.
See, a lot of times what we see in a rule book, the umpires have a much thicker book, a case book. We'll talk about certain plays.
Exactly.
And how that play should be interpreted.
Yeah, the rule book is a starting point, but by no means does that give you the complete picture. 2 balls and a strike. If you can ever get your hands on one of those umpires' case books, that will give you the real nitty-gritty of how these calls are made. And they memorize them. It's one thing to memorize the rule, but then putting it into practice, that's the real issue. And that's where hundreds and thousands of games really make an umpire somebody who is very good at what he does. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, it's like the law. You just cite precedent.
Line to left field. There goes Braun again. And Fernando Martinez will get it back in to Marwin Gonzalez, and Braun is 2 for 2 in this one.
Millsy could have gone out there and said, in the case of Art Howe versus Doug Harvey, 1990, precedent indicated that should have been hindrance.
That's pretty much the same old story versus the Astros for Ryan Braun. He's aboard for Ramos Ramirez. And Ramirez hit a fly ball to right in the first inning. So that first inning Milwaukee run was unearned because of the error on Corporan, allowing Morgan to reach. Fouled away. There's strike 1 to Ramirez. The Brewers have been a streaky team lately. Oh, is she happy? Just ecstatic. Brewers swept the Astros in a 3-game series at Milwaukee. They went to St. Louis. They were swept by the Cardinals. They went back home and they swept Cincinnati, the first place team in this division.
And Cincinnati had lost 5 in a row before finally winning today. And a crazy one at Wrigley. The Reds beat the Cubs 10-8 on a day in which the wind was blowing in, really blowing in. It was blowing hard at Wrigley. They still managed to put 18 runs up.
Swing and a miss by Ramirez, and it's 0-2.
Bud's getting a lot of swings and misses at his slider here tonight. Obviously very important for Carlos to be able to contain that ball. It's gotten away from him a couple of times. Not easy.
The Reds' lead had dropped to 2.5 over the Pirates before that win today. Homer Bailey got his 10th win, beating Justin Germano. Aroldis Chapman got his 26th save. Ground ball hit through the right side. Braun to second base on the single by Ramirez, and it's 1st and 2nd, 1 out now.
Ramirez, a red hot hitter, just a great approach there with 2 strikes. Astros playing for a double play. He's got a lot of room on the right side, so he keeps the hands inside and just punches that ball into right field. just going there the whole time.
Did you see the highlights of that one play involving Xavier Paul in right field for Cincinnati and Chicago today with the wind howling?
I didn't see that one. I saw one that fell in between all the Cub outfielders. Just
nightmarish game.
Yeah, the outfielders kept trying to run in on the ball, and the wind just kept knocking it down as hard as they could run. The wind was a little bit faster.
Corey Hart with 2 men on and 1 out. Rounds 1 to 3rd. Brett Wallace takes it to second. Jose Altuve on to first. A 5-4-3 double play. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left. Middle of the 3rd inning, 2-0 Brewers.
Cancer Center, making cancer history, was on this date 1994 that Jeff Bagwell broke his left hand for the 2nd year in a row by being hit by a pitch. It was a strike-shortened season. He finished, though, with 39 homers, 116 RBIs, and a batting average of .368, all club records at the time. Jeff, of course, is here tonight for the celebration of the 90s, and he actually threw out the first pitch, but not with that right shoulder. Actually, I'm not even sure what he's throwing out. It doesn't look like a ball. Golden ball?
That's that golden ball, yeah. The special Flashback Friday ball.
Had to go with his left arm to Brett Wallace. And that was before the game tonight. This was also the anniversary of a game that will never be duplicated. Red Barrett threw a complete game with only 58 pitches. And 1 hour and 15 minutes for the Braves against the Reds. That's still the all-time record for fewest pitches. That happened on this night.
Fernando Martinez takes strike 1. Martinez trying to get something going in the hit column for the Astros. They trailed 2-0. He hit .314 at AAA. He's 1 for 15 with the Astros with 2 runs batted in. And that earlier stint here in Houston was abbreviated. He tried for a diving catch on a fly ball in right field. Suffered concussion type symptoms. And went back to AAA. Rips this one foul. So the numbers have been very good for him at Oklahoma City. 13 homers, 62 runs batted in, 23 doubles for Fernando Martinez. And now he gets his shot replacing J.D. Martinez in left field. Had 22 at bats with the Mets last year and 18 the year before. It's 1-2. Very highly regarded prospect coming up through the Mets system.
Just misses that front knee. Yeah, he's still just 23 years of age. Came up in 09 for 29 games with the Mets at the age of 20.
Pops it up. Corey Hart in. Foul pop for out number 1.
And the Bagwell profile, Rookie of the Year in 91, a 4-time All-Star. Could have easily been a 8 or 10-time All-Star. Won the MVP in that 94 season. Time leader in home runs and RBIs for the club.
retired number. And the right shoulder is what forced his retirement. He still had tremendous numbers even with that career shortened by injury. And hopefully Hall of Fame numbers for those who are voting each year. And the percentages have come up for Jeff Bagwell's vote totals for Hall of Fame. That's fouled away. Corporon with strike one. 273 his average. 2 homers. 7 runs batted in for Carlos.
When you compare Jeff's career with a number of the guys that are already in the Hall of Fame, it should be a slam dunk.
Yep. You know, it's going to be interesting this next Hall of Fame vote with the class that's eligible, including, of course, the Astros' Craig Biggio, to see how the voters handle that class of first-time eligibles. That's a foul ball, or is it? Let's see. 3 players giving chase. It is foul. 1 and 2. 449 home runs. That number displayed out there on Home Run Alley. So,
hey, leave that there.
Yeah. I just want to touch it. See if maybe it's a little bit loose.
We should get every pitcher that gave up a home run to sign those balls.
Oh, that'd be fun. 1 and 2 to Corp. Bud Norris on deck. Corporon came up through Milwaukee's system, spent his first 7 pro seasons in the Brewers organization. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. He got 1 at bat with Milwaukee in 09. And then in 2010, he was in the minor leagues all year, returning last year to the big leagues with the Astros. Milwaukee had a day off yesterday. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Brewers opening this road trip tonight. And they are 26 and 25 in the division this season. Tomorrow night it's a 6:05 game. Dallas Keuchel and Marco Estrada will do the pitching. Ground ball, diving play. Corey Hart tossing to Rogers. 2 outs.
What a valuable guy Corey Hart is for the Brewers and has been over the years. A guy who for a time hit at the top of their batting order. He hits in the middle of the order. He's a good outfielder. He's been outstanding at first base since making the move there after the injury to Matt Gamble.
He's been superb at first base. Bud Norris with 5 hits and 34 at bats has a 147 batting average. The Brewers will go on to Colorado for a 3-game set after this one. Norris looks at it. It's strike 1 to Bud. Rogers trying to make it through 3 innings, facing only 9. He has allowed a base runner. Altuve drew the walk, but then was erased on a double play ball. No balls, 2 strikes. Brewers starting pitchers are 34 and 33 as a group with a 3.95 ERA. It's 1 and 2. Zach Greinke was certainly solid, but he is now pitching for the Angels. Giovanni Gallardo leads their current group in wins with 10. He's lost 8. Mike Fiers has really been lighting it up as a rookie with a 1.80 ERA. He's made 12 starts. The talk is that they may be shutting him down in September. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Altuve waiting. And a strikeout makes it 9 batters for the Astros in the first 3 innings. No hits so far. And 4 strikeouts for Rogers with a 2-0 Brewer lead.
ends. Get your young fan exclusive Astros retro gear celebrating the team's 50th anniversary. For just $20, kids can be a Buddies MVP member and receive an Astros orange and blue style baseball cap, a rainbow jersey drawstring bag, and a commemorative wall banner. You can get all of that right now by going to astros.com/buddies and signing up, guys.
Thank you, Bart. Sounds like a worthwhile endeavor.
You know, today we did an event with the Astros Buddies. They had a Astros Buddies press conference where kids were allowed to ask questions of some of the players, and we had Justin Maxwell and Lucas Harrell and Chris Snyder there, and kids did a bang-up job. A lot of really good questions, and the three players are just wonderful with the kids. Had a lot of great answers. So maybe that's something that they'll revisit next year.
Well, if they can get you to host it, they certainly will.
You know, I was just there to hang out, really. They didn't need me.
Sounds like a good time. Strike one to Ricky Weeks. He doubled and scored earlier. JD, how many folks did you have over there?
I don't know. I think 150 registered for the event. I'm not sure if they all showed.
Okay.
And then they got to come in and hang out in the Crawford boxes and watch BP.
Nice. 1 ball, 1 strike for Bud Norris. He has thrown 54 pitches. 37 have been strikes here through 3 innings plus 2 pitches. Last night it was Lucas Harrell going 5 as the starter. It's a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Bogasevic's well over into right center. That's smacked toward the left field corner by Weeks. Looks like a double. And it does kick back toward the shortstop. Here's the throw from Fernando Martinez. Whoa, he made it close. It is a double by Weeks, but Martinez with that laser-like one-hop throw to Altuve made it close.
And the fact that the ball got out there so quickly on a line from Weeks, and then the play by Martinez made it awfully close at second base. This ball's got a lot of juice on it, but well played by Fernando, and then he comes up and makes one heck of a throw. But he was in there.
Second double of the game for Weeks, 23rd of the year. He was hustling all the way, just barely beat it. Jonathan Lucroy's the batter. He hit one off Bud Norris's foot that caromed up in the air.
See the pick and the tag there by Altuve. That's something he was working on before the game today. Joe Patini was out between the home plate and the mound, hitting fungos to Altuve at the bag, trying to hit him short one hoppers so he could practice catching and tagging on balls in the dirt. Those guys that handle the fungo, it's amazing what they can do.
Oh, it's like a yo-yo for them. The way they can jerk that ball around the diamond. Liner over at third goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
There it is. Handling the short hop. Catch it first. Try to apply the tag.
Sometimes if you keep the tag on that runner, he'll pop up off the base and you'll get an out call. Not that time.
Jimmy Reese, the longtime coach with the Angels, used to throw batting practice. Well, not throw batting practice, but hit batting practice.
Yeah.
Take a fungo and hit the ball home plate.
That's amazing. Ground ball shortstop. Marwin Gonzalez over to Scott Moore. Weeks advancing on Lucroy's out number 1.
Just envision some dad taking his kid to the local park and say, hey, let's try this, son. I'm going to hit you some BP. Little guys will be diving for cover. I doubt that Jimmy did it for very long, right? He didn't even do a whole round of BP that way. Probably just hit a few for fun.
Yeah, just for grins.
Just because he could.
Right. Now the infield comes in with a runner at third and 1 out for Gene Segura. Segura with a ground ball back to the pitcher his first time up. He looks at strike 1. The Brewers with this Greinke trade getting a 22-year-old shortstop in Segura, who had a fractured left leg in 08. But in 09, even though he certainly was not in line to go up to AAA, they needed a shortstop at Salt Lake, and he filled in the first few games of the 09 season at AAA. Pitch out, no squeeze on. 1-1. Then in 2010, he led the Midwest League in hits and he stole 50 bases and drove in 79 runs. So he's one of those prized prospects, and Greinke came at a pretty steep price. That one knocks him down. Started to swing, and then he decided it would be a good idea to hit the deck.
Starting to dive over to cover that outside corner, and this two-seamer runs up and in on him. Situation here where you're trying to punch him out. You're worried about a potential squeeze. You want to make it hard for him to get a bunt down, but here it comes.
Yeah, there's a squeeze. It's popped up, and there's a catch by Norris, and the double play throw to Wallace. So Weeks is doubled off on the popped up bunt by Segura. It goes as a 1-5 double play. 2 double plays in 2 innings for the Astros. Now they're going to work on some runs, trailing 2-0.
Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Get the All-American Jack Combo for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. By the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. And by Coushatta Casino Resort, the largest, most exciting casino resort in Louisiana. Some of the food you can get here at Minute Maid Park will satiate some appetites, though, would be some runs and hits. The Astros trail 2-0 to the bottom of the 4th.
Yes, the fans have an appetite for a win tonight, and this was helped by the popped-up squeeze bunt.
Yeah, well-executed squeeze is almost impossible to defend, but when it's not well executed, there's a lot of risk involved, hence suicide squeeze. And that's why a lot of times y'all hear fans say, well, they should have squeezed like it's an easy play. It's not an easy play. And if you do it all the time, you lose any element of surprise that you may have.
Yeah. Jose Altuve drew a walk in the first inning. He's been the only Houston base runner through 3. There's strike 1. What percentage of the time teams try a squeeze play do you think it succeeds?
That's a good question. I would say certainly more than half, just based on what we've seen the last couple of years. You know, the one that's become very effective is that safety squeeze, first and third situation.
Yeah.
Where the runner just reads it and, you know, doesn't have to put himself at great risk. He's not coming with the pitch. He's waiting to see the ball down.
2 balls and a strike to Jose. Boston leads at Cleveland 3-2. They played 7. Cody Ross hit his 18th homer. Altuve hits one back to Rogers. Well, still no hits for Houston. Altuve is out, and Gonzalez will try to get something going. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play with Altuve on the move back in the first inning.
This kid certainly has the arm to succeed at the big league level. As we mentioned earlier, a very high draft pick, 5th overall in 2004. And despite the surgeries, it looks like that arm has come all the way back for him, throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. That's been his primary weapon here tonight. His slider actually has been hit or miss so far. He really hasn't shown a real nasty slider. And he hasn't needed it either.
Marwin Gonzalez waiting. Tyler Green, who's now an Astro, is a right-handed batter. Marwin a switch hitter. Marwin has hit 119 as a right-handed batter. So it would appear that Tyler Green is in for some playing time at shortstop against lefty pitching, but the Brewers aren't starting a lefty in this series. It's in the air. Ramirez settling in. But he might start one of the games in this series, Brad Mills said, against a right-hander anyway, just to get Tyler Green in the mix and give Marwin a rest. He's played a lot since the injury to Jed Lowry. 2 outs, and it's Brett Wallace batting. He struck out in the first inning. And we started to talk earlier, and then something distracted us about the outfield situation, because there was a promotion. If you were with us last night, George Springer was promoted from Lancaster to Corpus Christi. And there might be more moves coming in the next few days.
There's a good slider. Delino DeShields was promoted from Lexington to Lancaster.
Guess he won't get that stolen base record then. It's 1-1. And that was something the Astros had been talking about, those midseason promotions, or just past the midway point, to challenge players to come up to the next level and do well for next year. Fouled away. You know, we've seen some just terrific young players come into the game the last few years, and we just saw Bryce Harper, who is not hitting well right now, but 19 years old. There's Mike Trout with the Angels. He just turned 21. And now the Orioles have called up Manny Machado to play third base for them. He is also a very young player. I think he's 20. He was first round pick in 2010. So these young guys are advancing very quickly, JD.
How old is the Lowry kid over in Toronto? Brett Lowry. He's pretty young, isn't he?
Yes, he's young.
22, 3, somewhere in that range.
Right. It was a Milwaukee draft.
Wow, and just like that, he starts snapping off some really good breaking balls.
For strikeout number 5, and through 4, he has pitched hitless baseball and has faced the minimum. 2-0 Brewers.
Does What Do You Drive? Tomorrow, 3-game series continues. Game 6 and 7-game homestand. Dallas Keuchel goes to the mound, making his 9th big league start. Last time, this is how you scatter 12 singles. He did it against the Washington Nationals. Didn't get the win, but did work 6 innings in that game. He goes against Marco Estrada. 5:30 tomorrow night for Astros Live. This has been your Mazda Game Break. You know, Brownie, Jimmy Reese once shot an 82 using a fungo bat and a putter. So, how about that one? For those who don't know, wasn't he Babe Ruth's roommate?
He was.
And then a longtime coach with the Mariners for a while, and of course known for the California Angels, right?
And Nolan named his second son Reese after
Reese Ryan.
Yeah.
Bud Norris getting ready to go to work. It's a tough one for him. His club only has one base runner who was immediately erased on a double play ball. He has given up 2 runs on 6 hits. And now it's Rogers leading it off. The pitcher is 0 for 1. And that's strike 1. So Bud just has to hang in there, do his job, hope for run support. He's thrown 64 pitches. 44 have been strikes so far. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Last night Lucas Harrell went 5. He took a 5-0 loss. At some point the Astros are due to break out with the bats. High chop to the mound. Out number 1. Gomez comes up next. He has struck out both times. Gomez has been known to bunt quite often, and with his speed, if he can get it down, he's certainly a threat to beat it out. Signed as a free agent with the Mets, but he really broke in with the Twins. He just had 125 at bats with the Mets in 07. He was traded for Johan Santana in 08. Brett Wallace comes in on the grass at third. Gomez backing away because of that bunting ability for this batter.
Yeah, he'll push it, he'll drag it. Been around a while, but he's only 26 years of age. He just needs to learn how to cut down on his swing and kind of tighten his game up a little bit. The skill set is there, but there's been plenty of guys who've had a lot of talent that have never really figured out how to play the game.
It's 0-2. A guy with Gomez's speed, if he makes a lot of contact, can really have a high batting average. Beat out a lot of infield hits, get a lot of bunt hits. 1 and 2, but sometimes, well, he's hit 10 homers this year, and that's his high for a major league season. And sometimes players get caught up in that. He's had 240 at bats.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's in the bat. He's got 25-30 home run power for sure. But if you don't control the strike zone, if you're swinging at pitches out of the zone all the time, it's never going to come to be. You're not going to get enough playing time. Bud working him exclusively with sliders throughout this at bat. 4 of them, all of them basically out of the zone. Gomez has swung at 3 of them. Probably throw him another one here or go way upstairs with a heater.
Takes it for a ball, 2 and 2. Having a conversation a few days ago, JD, with a veteran broadcaster who passed along the comments from a player who's toward the end of his career. He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. Swing and a miss. This one gets away. Gomez racing to first. Here's the throw from Corcoran. He strikes him out. And he was talking about some of his young teammates and their proclivity to try to hit home runs. He said it seems that a single isn't enough anymore.
Well, I think it's about knowing your skill set, knowing what you're capable of, who you are as a player. Here's how it got started for the Brewers. This little double kick as he swings and misses for strike 3 and then kicks the ball one way then the other way and has to go back through the legs on Carlos. It's ruled an error on Corcoran. A really tough error for him to absorb. And Brad Mills and Corcoran both arguing for an interference call. Jerry Mills, the home plate umpire, said no, that's just basically incidental contact.
Nigel Morgan shows bunt, takes a strike. He's 0 for 2, but he did reach on that area you just saw and scored the first run. Last year he hit .304. And he really drew a lot of attention. 1 ball, 1 strike. This year, a very humbling .230 batting average right now. Career .288 for Nigel. He's another one of those guys with his legs who can get a ton of infield hits. This one goes out to left center, and Bogusevic makes the catch for a 1-2-3 fifth. That is the first 1-2-3 inning for Bud Norris. And now the Astros come up in the bottom of the 5th, trailing 2-0.
These blue and gold star uniforms return to the playing field Friday, August 17th as the Astros take on the Diamondbacks for Flashback Friday, presented by Methodist Hospital System. Astros great Brad Ausmus will toss out the ceremonial first pitch that game, and fans can enjoy Friday night fireworks presented by Marathon Oil. To be here for that one, go to Astros.com for those tickets. Brownie, back to you.
Brad Ausmus is here next Friday night.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Whoa.
I'm sure the female fan base will all be here in force.
They will be out in big numbers, you know that. They strike 1 to Steve Pearce. Mark Rogers has not given up a hit through 4. He has struck out 5, walked 1, but then he got a double play ball right after that walk. He's thrown 59 pitches. And that was fouled by Pearce. No balls.
Remember when Diane Sawyer came to throw out the first pitch and Ausmus caught it? She said she was moon-eyed goofy over Brad Ausmus.
She certainly did. What does that mean?
Well,
haven't heard that phrase since then.
Moon-eyed goofy.
Okay. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts.
She was smitten.
Pearce is down on strikes. That's number 6. Rogers' longest start is 5 2/3 innings.
Unbelievable here tonight. Jordan Zimmerman last night was about as good as you can get. Punched out 11 in 6 innings. Gave up 3 hits. That was very dominant.
Yeah, Jordan came in with an ERA of 2.45.
They kind of expected to see that from him.
Exactly. This is unexpected. Scott Moore around to bunt, and he takes ball 1. But you know, he's into a nice rhythm now. Looks like he's got some confidence going.
Jordan Zimmerman might be the best kept secret in the league. Yeah. He is really good.
Bunted, and that's a well placed bunt for the first hit by an Astro. Why not? It was there, and he took it right in front of Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah, Ramirez is going to play back and give it to him, and Moore drops down to Dandy. Now, there will be those that say, wait, you can't do that to break up a no-hitter.
Why not?
It's dirty pool. It's bad etiquette.
No, it's not.
Not a 2-0 game in the 5th inning. Now, if it's 11-0 in the 9th inning and your sole goal is just to break up the guy's no-hitter, I might have an issue with it. But in the context of the game, you're down 2. You need base runners.
Do what you need
Good
to
play.
do. Yeah.
Good baseball play.
Bogusevic struck out earlier. There is ball 1 to him. Now Rogers in the stretch for only the 2nd time. Fernando Martinez on deck as these left-handed hitters try to go to work on Rogers. San Diego and Pittsburgh 7-7 after 5. Now back and it's 1-1. Not a good night for the 2 starters. Edinson Volquez gave up 6 earnings in 3 1/3. James McDonald gave up 7 in 4 1/3. Amarista number 5, Headley number 16 for the Padres, Jones number 17, Snyder number 4 for the Buccos.
Really annoying for McDonald because he had a 7-1 lead and gave it up.
He hasn't been doing all that well.
No, he's not.
Line shot into center field. Moore to second base on a screamer by Bogusevic. Oh, a bunt and a laser. Back to back have the Astros in business with Fernando Martinez trying to cash in.
A little low running fastball out over the plate. Good swing by Bogey. He's not had a lot of at-bats lately.
Martinez fouled out to the first baseman in the 3rd inning. We were counting back to the number of Astros on this current 25-man roster who were here on the 25-man opening day roster. We counted 10. Ball 1. Of course, a couple of guys are on the disabled list right now. It's Moore at second and Bogusevic at first. Jason Castro and Jed Lowry. Big turnover this year on the Astros club and the minor league clubs as well. You know, we were wondering, JD, when all these trades came along in July, the count goes to 1-1, wouldn't they have to release several guys in the minor leagues to make room for the 15 new players? They did release some, David Gottfried said, but then other guys went on the disabled list and that sort of thing. So it wasn't a high number of players they released. It's 1-2.
Will they acquire 15 guys?
Yeah.
Rogers continues to beat the Astros with that good fastball.
This uniform the Astros are wearing tonight was worn from 94 through 99. They won 3 division titles in 6 years with a .559 winning percentage wearing these uniforms. Line drive right field. Morgan over, makes the catch, throws back to second, 2 outs. And Carlos Corporan will be up next. Only Atlanta had a better winning percentage in the National League during those years than the Astros, 94 through 99.
Yeah, it's fun to see these old uniforms, and it calls to mind some of the players in the past. Obviously, Biggio and Bagwell and some of those guys that played here for so long. But earlier we talked about Ricky Gutierrez, Tony Eusebio, Billy Spires.
Yeah. Shane Reynolds, Billy Wagner, Mike Hampton. Yeah, Spires was a good player.
Sean Barry.
So versatile, yeah. Sean had solid years. Just a good bench on that club. Barry and Spires platooning at third base. That was a great platoon. Strike to Corporan. Derek Bell with those high bouncing infield hits. Lance Berkman came along at the end of that time in '99.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture Lance in this uni, and I can't.
Right, he didn't play that many games in this one. Foul back, and it's no balls, 2 strikes to Corcoran.
Carlos for 2 home runs. He didn't hit any home runs when he was up with the Astros last year. He only had a little bit of time, very little time with the Brewers before his call up last season with the Astros. So the 2 home runs he's hit this year are the totality of his major league home run total.
Manny Machado has hit 2 home runs tonight for Baltimore. His first 2 in the big leagues. Baltimore leads 7-1 after 8 over Kansas City. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. He had been a shortstop, but they had a need for a third baseman, and he had played just a couple of games in the minors at third, and they called him up. Decided to give it a shot, and the Orioles are right in the thick of things for a wild card berth. They're 8 games above 500, and it appears that they will be 9 above 500 the way this game is going tonight. Lucroy checking around, putting the fingers down for Rogers. And he has really clicked with Rogers so far. Brewers club with Greinke was hoping to be in a very good situation in this NL Central race as of now, but just didn't work out. They've had some costly injuries and then the bullpen failings. Into center field. That'll score run number 1 as Moore comes around and into third base on the RBI single by Corcoran Bogusevic. Now 2-1 as 3 hits have come the Astros' way in the 5th. That's an awfully big at bat.
It took a long time for Rogers and LaCroix to get together to ultimately decide to throw a bad 0-2 breaking ball. Probably not what LaCroix had in mind. That's a pitcher's no-no there to leave that 2-strike breaking ball right out over the heart of the plate, and credit Corcoran with taking advantage and delivering the Astros' first run.
Well, that is so big from the number 8 hitter with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the count. The Astros had struggled so much. Now Bud Norris comes to the plate. Now with that feeling that they have gotten something going here. It's only a 1-run deficit. And Norris struck out in the 3rd inning. Bud with 5 hits this year. He's driven in 3. Oh, if he comes through, things have really turned for the Astros here in the 5th. It's St. Louis 1, Philadelphia 1. They're in the top of the 8th at Philly. Kyle Loesch still on the mound for the Redbirds. He's been on a nice stretch of work lately. Carlos Beltran hit his 28th home run. One behind Ryan Braun for the league lead. High chop, slowly hit. Segura comes after it. Segura with a throw, and he gets Norris. The Astros come away with 1 run on 3 hits, leaving 2, and after 5, it's 2-1 Brewers. play. Looking at the work of Bud Norris with 6 strikeouts so far. He gets the slider on Gomez. And another breaking pitch. Morgan whiffs. And once again, he snaps one off on Hart. And this is what Bud has going tonight. He keeps going to that pitch. And on these right-handed batters, they do not seem to be picking it up. So why not stick with it? He has struck out 6 through 5 innings.
Well, half of them, Carlos Gomez, the leadoff hitter, struck out 3 times, all swinging. He just could not lay off that slider. Whereas Bud has a very good slider. It's a great weapon for him. He throws it very hard. Difficult for the hitters to pick it up. That's why his strikeout rate, even though he's having a rough year, remains among the best in Major League Baseball.
Now here's an immediate challenge. Ryan Braun leads off the 6th inning. Braun is 2 for 2. A double and a single. The double drove in a run in the 1st inning. And the Astros have put some things together. If Norris can throw up a 0 here in the 6th on the 3, 4, 5 hitters, that will really help the cause. With Altuve, Gonzalez, and Wallace due up in the bottom half. Michael Morse, who had the big game here last night, extended his hitting streak to 18 games. There's a fly ball to right. Caught by Pierce. 1 pitch, 1 out. Isn't that refreshing for Bud Norris to get Braun that way?
Yeah, especially with that guy. Get him out of there as quickly as possible and move on.
Well, Morse, JD, left here with an 18-game streak. Last night, he now has a 7-game streak. They made a scoring change, and a single he picked up on August 2nd was switched to an error on Jimmy Rollins. So much for the 18-game streak for Michael Morse. Ramirez is 1 for 2. Bouncer to third. Wallace. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Bud. That will help his cause. He's at 77 for the night.
Now, no surprise to see Ramirez first pitch swinging. He's a guy notoriously known for that over the years. Braun, a more patient type.
Hart will take this first pitch, right?
Well, yeah, we saw this the other night. He probably will. Baseball kind of etiquette, baseball 101 says take it, but I think it's bogus to have to take that pitch. You feel like the pitcher's just going to channel a fastball in there because he assumes you're taking it to avoid a 3-pitch inning.
Well, he did throw him a tough slider.
Yeah, which
it's like it was low too.
Yeah.
0-2. Altuve and Gonzalez are talking at close range. They're about 12 feet from each other on the left side of the infield. Having a nice subdued conversation on the infield.
There's our Fox Tracks. It's brought to you by TxDOT. Drink drive, go to jail.
Bud keeping that ball down on Hart. In the dirt. 2-2. Norris shooting for win number 6 of the season. He gets a pop up outside the line, and oh, here's a long run for Scott Moore. He was really hustling for that one. He was in an all-out sprint. That's outstanding effort. Still 2-2.
Remember, with Hart up there, he starts from almost in a normal second baseman's position.
He sure does. Yeah, he had to go a long way to get there. Wow. What an inning. 6-pitch inning for Bud Norris. And it's 2-1 Milwaukee. 2-1 ball game here on a Friday night. Flashback Friday night. The Astros with the uniforms from the 90s trying to rev it up here in the bottom of the 6th inning and grab the lead. Rogers did not give up a hit through 4 1/3. Moore bunted, and then that really triggered the rally that continued with a Bogusevic line drive single. And with 2 outs on an 0-2 count, Corporon drove in a run with a hit to center field. Altuve has bounced out to the pitcher in addition to drawing that leadoff walk in the game for the Astros. Bud Norris threw 8 pitches in the top of the inning. Rogers deals strike one,
including a really nasty changeup. We showed you all those strikeouts at the start of the inning with the slider, and he threw Corey Hart a dandy of a changeup, which he doesn't use all that often, but that was a really good one.
It's 1-1. Rogers is at 76 pitches. 48 have been strikes. Texas leads Detroit. It's 2-1. Bottom of the 5th inning. Hamilton hit number 31 off Scherzer.
Coming out of his funk, eh?
Yeah, he is. That's 1 out. Bart?
Well, Bill Chevy is proud to present Chevy Hometown Kids. This show's not about the score, it's about the experience. So join host Emily Rippert each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston, or go to hometownkids.tv for more information. Back to you.
All right, that's tomorrow morning. Marwin Gonzalez grounded into a double play, and he popped up. Phillies just got 2 in the bottom of the 8th, and they lead St. Louis now 3-1 after 8 on a Chase Utley homer. Loesch had left after 7 innings of 4-hit 1-run baseball. Halladay in. He's worked 8, giving up 2 hits, 1 run.
Just that solo home run by Beltran, the only blemish on Halladay's record tonight. How about Paul Maholm? Complete game shutout for the Braves over the Mets. His outstanding work continues. 3-hitter, didn't walk anybody, punched out 5.
That's interesting. Fly ball out to Segura if he can get there. No, he can't. He looks out to Ryan Braun. 2 outs.
Some of those big names that have moved at the All-Star break. Keep an eye on a lesser guy like Maholm. He's really been something. Of course, the acquisition of Ben Sheets by the Braves too was a very savvy move.
Well, they might be better off with Maholm than with Dempster. Who knows? 2 outs, and it's Wallace who struck out twice. Oakland 3, White Sox 2. They've played 5 in Chicago. Gavin Floyd pitching for the Sox. Brzezinski hit number 22. He has just gone crazy with the home runs this year. Strike 1 to Wallace. Dodgers 5, Miami 2. They're in the bottom of the 8th at Miami. Luciano belted another one, number 10 for Miami. Juan Rivera, number 6 for the Dodgers.
In support of Clayton Kershaw. Burley started for Miami tonight.
Tampa Bay 8, Minnesota 3, bottom of the 5th. Watch out for the Rays. They're 7 games over 500 now. Matt Joyce hit his 13th. You know, they just got Longoria back, a few days ago, and their cleanup hitters have been among the least productive in the majors. They can get something going with their pitching staff, and James Shields, I think, had a good game the other day. If he can light it up the way he has in the past, that could be another playoff year for Tampa Bay. That wild card is just crazy in the American League right now. Down and in for a ball, and it's 2-2 to Brett Wallace.
Oakland with a half-game lead over Baltimore and Detroit coming into play today. Tampa Bay 1 off the pace. The Angels a game and a half.
Scramble. 3-2. Let's see. The National League not so much, right?
Atlanta with a game lead over Pittsburgh. St. Louis 3.5 back. Dodgers 4.5 back. D-backs 7.5 back. There's the AL race. Don't count out the Red Sox either.
Nope. Too early for that. Washington failed to score in the top of the 1st at Arizona, with Steven Strasburg now pitching to Jason Kubel in the bottom of the 1st. Oh, That'd be a good matchup. There's a walk to Wallace with 2 outs. That's number 2 for Rogers. And it'll bring up Pierce.
And so we've had a good look at that National League East lately with the series in Atlanta and then Washington here for 4. That's going to be a tough call, boy. Those are 2 really good, really deep teams.
Yes.
And a lot of clubs in the mix for the wild card. And that's pretty much toast, but everybody else on that list has a legitimate shot.
Pierce has grounded out and struck out. You know, we were kind of discussing the National League Cy Young last night. R.A. Dickey, 15-3, seems to be a strong candidate. But some people like Johnny Cueto as of right now. He's certainly had another terrific year.
Yeah, well, especially given the ballpark in which he pitches.
Right. That's a big, big factor. Huge hitter's park, and he's done very well there.
Yeah, that whole staff. I mean, the Reds, that's the whole key to their season. That's why their first place club, their starting pitching, has been unbelievably good, despite the fact that they pitch in one of the better hitter's parks in all of baseball. And tremendously resilient. 5 starters all year long for Cincinnati.
Good stop by Lucroy. And ball 1 to Pierce. 1-1. It's over in Cleveland. Boston won it 3-2. Clay Buchholz going to 10-3. It's over in Baltimore 7-1. Miguel Gonzalez winning for the Orioles. Pierce takes it. It's a strike. 1-2. Wallace at first.
A gutsy walk, if there is such a thing. That was drawn there by Brett Wallace after striking out his first 2 at bats to lay off that borderline 3-2 backdoor slider.
Two and two.
He either showed a tremendous eye and great discipline, or he was fooled by the pitch and the call went his way.
Pierce waiting for a 2-2 pitch from Rogers. Pierce is on a 5-game hitting streak. Oh, a little jab stroke, and he strikes out. That's number 7 for Rogers. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded. After 6, Milwaukee leads it 2-1.
Houston is brought to you by Hyundai. If it's stylish, intelligent, safe, and affordable, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Burger King. Come play family food where every game piece has a prize. Prize here is a victory for the Astros, down by a run to the top of the 7th. Here's Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
The wearing of the orange there for that young man. But tonight the players are wearing the blue, gold, and white. Brewers fans, cheeseheads are here as well to watch on this Friday night.
Excuse me, sir. Would you please remove your wedge of cheese so I can watch the game?
Ricky Weeks leads it off here in the 7th inning, taking ball 1. He has a pair of doubles in this game. Brewers have 6 hits to the Astros 3. Houston has the only error. And the run in the first was unearned for Milwaukee. That's the difference in this one. Slider in the dirt for Norris. Takes the count to 2 balls, no strikes. Bud's at 85 pitches. Brad Mills explained after the game last night that Lucas Harrell came out after 5 innings. He had thrown 100 pitches. But he had to do a lot of work in that 32 pitch 4th inning last night. So that's one of the things they watch for on the bench. 2 balls and a strike.
And that pendulum swings too from start to start depending on who's out there and how good the bullpen had really struggled for a long while. Look at those Weeks again.
Could be another double. Fernando Martinez plays it off the wall. Weeks gets double number 3 of the night. 24 this year for Ricky Weeks.
Just wearing out that left field corner.
All of his hits have gone there.
We could just roll the video from his last at bat.
Right. Get some top hand on that one. That's 7 hits for the Brewers, 4 of them 2-base hits. Well, Weeks led off the 2nd with a double, and the 4th, and the 7th. He scored in the 2nd on a wild pitch. Lucroy, the batter, taking strike 1 from Norris.
Anyway, the point I was going to make, a lot of times it depends on how well your bullpen. For the longest time the bullpen was really struggling, and Brad was asking a little bit more out of his young starters. Now the bullpen in recent days been a little bit better, so willing to hit for Harrell, get him out after 5. In all likelihood, he would have gotten only 1 more from him before the pitch count really became an issue.
Now it's 1-1. Mark Teixeira hit his 22nd home run for the Yankees. They're bombing away at Toronto, leading 10-3. Kelly Johnson hit his 13th for the Jays. I believe Jay Happ is up tomorrow night for Toronto against the Yankees. Joe Girardi got tossed from the game last night. Yankees lead the majors with 173 long balls. Blue Jays are 2nd in that matchup this weekend in Toronto. In the air on the infield, Altuve. 1 down. Time for a look at our Brown Hand Center great hands of the game. And here's the squeeze bunt try, popped up. Norris with the catch, easily doubling Weeks off third. That was on Segura's bunt in the 4th. Looking like a pretty big play right now. Brewers at the time had a 2-0 lead. Now 2-1. With Weeks 3 doubles, it's been done 33 times by the Milwaukee franchise. And the last one to do it, Prince Fielder, last April. 3 doubles in a game. 89 pitches for Norris. Segura had grounded back to Norris before popping up that squeeze bunt try.
Segura, as a minor leaguer, hit for a high average, not a lot of power. Stole a fair number of bases and a very slick fielder. The Brewers have landed themselves a guy they can count on for a good long while out there. We'll see.
Sure does.
Got to figure it out at this level. But very highly regarded prospect.
They started the year with Alex Gonzalez, who's out with knee surgery now. He is a fine major league shortstop who has power, but it appears that Milwaukee, like the Cubs and the Astros in this division, has gone to a much younger approach now at this point of the season. Swing there by Segura makes it 1-1, and the Brewers built to where they were last year through their system.
Missed that one by a foot and a half.
You know, that's being filed away by Mr. Norris. Throw back to second. Weeks is there. The Braves, with their win over the Mets in that Maholm shutout JD talked about, now won 6 in a row against New York. K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, is warming up for Milwaukee. He and John Exford both have had their shots at closing, but right now it's Jim Henderson closing. Good stop there by Corporon. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, but you go from K-Rod to the Axeman to Jim Henderson. So it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
It's like these flashy guys, and now they're going with an accountant, Jim Henderson.
He has to get a nickname. Bouncer right side, on through into right field. Here's Weeks around third, coming to the plate. The ball's juggled by Pierce, and he scores to make it 3-1. RBI single for Segura. He hit that slot in between first and second. And Weeks scores for the second time.
And very similar to the base hit that Aramis Ramirez had early in the ball game, punching it through the hole on the right side. Pierce not able to get the handle, but he wasn't going to throw out Weeks at home plate anyway.
Weeks around to score, and it's a 2-run lead again for Milwaukee. And Rogers, the pitcher, comes up. Expected to bunt here with a runner at first and 1 out. He has struck out, and he's grounded back to the mound. He squares and he takes it for strike 1. Colorado's at San Francisco later tonight. The Rockies have lost 6 of 8 against the Giants this year. And going back to last year, the Giants are 19-7 against Colorado, which has fallen upon hard times this year. The Giants scored 35 runs as they swept a 3-game set at Coors Field last weekend. They're right in the thick of that NL West race, leading LA by 1 and Arizona by 4.
They've been scoring. They put 15 on the Cardinals the other day, and Buster Posey's been the best hitter in baseball in the second half.
He has a 13-game hitting streak.
They've added Hunter Pence to the mix. Melky Cabrera has been solid all year long.
Marco Scudero's gone nuts for them the last week or so.
He had a 7 RBI game the other day.
Yeah. 0-2, and it's bunted out in front of the dish. Corporon takes it, throws to Altuve. Sacrifice for Rogers. That's his first of the year. Segura to second, 2 outs.
Well, it should be fun to keep an eye on. The Diamondbacks, who really struggled early, have hit their stride. They're right there, just 4 off the pace. Dodgers really have not been doing a lot of winning since acquiring Hanley Ramirez and Shane Victorino.
Boy, both the Giants and Dodgers really going for it. Giants also adding Hunter Pence. Now Gomez has struck out 3 times. 21,025 the attendance tonight. That's ball 1. We met some fans who drove down from Missouri before the game. It's their first trip to Minute Maid Park. They said, oh, it's so nice to have an air-conditioned park. Little bouncer goes foul, and it's 1-1. It's hot just about everywhere in the country right now.
Yeah, brutal. And a tough summer. That's why the lobster crop is so bountiful up in Maine. Water's warmer.
Ah.
I don't know if you would call it a crop, not the lobster crop. The lobster harvest.
Okay. Popped up. Altuve gets underneath it on the right side. And in the 7th inning, Milwaukee gets a run on 2 hits and leaves a man at 7th inning stretch time. It's 3-1 Brewers. Time brought to you by Beller Light, showing you there's a hit to right field or right center field by Corcoran, scoring Scott Moore. He had bunted with 1 out in the 5th inning to get something started for the first hit of the night, and Corcoran came through with 2 outs on an 0-2 pitch to give the Astros a run. Now they trail 3-1, and it'll be Moore leading it off in the home 7th inning with Mark Rogers shooting for his first major league win. He's allowed those 3 hits and 1 run. And now into that part of the game in which, of course, he has bullpen backup. And he already essentially has done his job. 91 pitches. Brewers trying to get a little bit more out of him. And he gets a strike there. Fernando Rodriguez warming up for Houston. And Francisco Rodriguez warming up for Milwaukee. 2 walks and 7 strikeouts for Rogers. So they have K-Rod ready if Rogers falters at all here in the 7th. It's 1-2. But the Milwaukee bullpen is 17-26 with a 4.88 ERA, 24 saves in 45 save opportunities. So just how secure that security blanket is open to question. That's strikeout number 8 as Rogers tries to stretch it out here.
That's a good fastball over the outside part of the plate. No dispute from Scott Moore.
Now Brian Bogusevic, who whistled a line drive hit to center in the 5th inning, is 1 for 2. Fernando Rodriguez warming up there. Pitcher spot could come up if the Astros get a rally here. Morgan Braun Ramirez due up in the Brewer 8th inning. This is the longest major league outing for Mark Rogers. One ball and one strike for Rogers.
The Astros have not hit many balls hard off of him. Bogusevic's base hit, his last at bat, was hit really well.
Now 2-1.
Bunt single more. A soft line drive for Corcoran for his RBI single. Really not much hard contact at all off this guy tonight.
It's just his 5th major league start. He's 0-1 in 6 games. Bogusevic fouls it. 2-2.
He having his dad send a shipment of lobsters in to celebrate his win if he gets it.
Career high in strikeouts with 8 and in innings with 6 1/3 for Rogers. It's still 2-2 to Bogey. When the Astros trail after 7 innings, they're 2-63. Fernando Martinez on deck. Now it's a full count to Brian Bogusevic. Deep breath for Brian. Rogers is at 100 pitches. Laced on a line to right, but right to Nigel Morgan. He hardly had to move. 2 outs.
Bit of bad fortune there. Good swing from Bogusevic. Hit it on the screws. T-Plush did not even have to move the smallest of wee little bits. Watch this. Maybe he didn't. He might have shuffled his feet.
Yeah.
He didn't have to, but he did.
It was a T-Plush assignment. Just catch the ball right at you. Now Bogey hit that on the screws. Now Fernando Martinez looking at ball 1. He fouled out and then he hit a line drive to right.
Fernando up, JD down, and obviously a tough pill to swallow for JD Martinez, but I think it's a good move for him at this stage of his career to go down there while there's still a little bit of minor league season left where he can retool his swing or whatever he needs to do to clear his head and make some mechanical adjustments. Very difficult to do that here at this level.
You are so right. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Get out of the pressure cooker a little bit. Just go have some fun and work hard before the games. Get a lot of extra work in.
Yeah, this is his time to do that, and then he could come back in September and hit effectively and go home feeling pretty good about what he had done, if that's what he's able to do. 2 balls and a strike. It is pretty obvious the Astros are going to be looking for outfield talent for next year the way this season has gone. But they could be filling those holes with some of the people they have here right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's the unfortunate thing about this year is there was the hope that you would find out about a lot of the players that started the year in April and whether they could play or not at this level and make some decisions, but there's still a lot of question marks.
Yes. Full count now.
So next spring it's going to be a big challenge again, finding enough at bats in spring training for all the guys you want to look at.
It certainly is.
Unless you go out and sign proven veterans and just give them the jobs.
3-2 pitch is fouled. Detroit just got 4 in the top of the 6th, then leads 5-2 at Texas. Bottom of the 6th inning now for Max Scherzer. Prince Fielder hit his 20th home run. The Tiger Club, kind of hard to figure. 60 and 52. Very much in the thick of things. Looked like it was going to take over first place. One game out. Bounce towards shortstop. Segura in, fires on the run. Excellent play to end the 7th inning with no runs, no hits, nobody left. Through 7, Rogers is going for his first major league win, and the Brewers lead it for him 3-1. Chevron, it's an earlier start. 5:30 for Astros Live from Marco Estrada, who's 0-5 with a 4.13 ERA. And Dallas Keuchel, he's 1-4 with a 5.60. That's tomorrow night. Astros Live at 5:30 for Game 2 of this 3-game weekend series. Fernando Rodriguez has come out of the Astros bullpen. He's warming up for the 8th inning with the score 3-1 Milwaukee. He is 1-8 with a 5.63 ERA.
Hey, he'd been going along nicely here in recent outings. Last night he got nicked up by a home run by Michael Morris. It was Morris' second home run of the ball game. Inning in the third, 2 hits, 1 run allowed by Fernando in last night's ball game. Bud Norris, very, very good tonight. 3 runs in 7 innings, only 2 of which were earned.
No walks, 7 strikeouts, a wild pitch. There were 2 double plays, one of them on that popped up bunt. And Bud gave up that unearned run in the first inning, another run in the second. The Astros falling behind 2-0 early. He was able to hold the line, and then that 7th inning run puts the Astros behind now 3-1. As Morgan comes up in the 8th, he is 0 for 3. Yeah, Bud has had starts like this in this losing streak, in which he's done an excellent job. But either gotten a loss or a no decision. Strike 1 to Morgan. Bud lost a 2-0 game at Pittsburgh with a very fine effort. He lost a 3-2 game at San Francisco, pitching well there. Well, 6 walks, but still. And that's a strike. 0-2. 7 innings, 1 run here, and a no decision against Cincinnati. No balls, 2 strikes. Bounces way out in front of the plate. 1-2.
It's the old 55-footer here. Spiked curveball. So you're not going to get beat with that 0-2 breaking ball there. Unless he hits it on a bounce.
Yeah. He started and he went through. A strikeout. Morgan whiffs. That's out number 1. Strikeout number 8 for Houston.
Another good curveball this time. 59 feet anyway, and Morgan willing to offer at it. Why throw strikes if you don't have to?
Bad. Braun is 2 for 3. Drove in a run with a double in the first inning.
Satchel Paige, Warren Spahn, one of those guys. The whole key to pitching. As close to the plate and as far away from the barrel as possible.
Yeah. Strike to Braun. Well, it's been one of those weeks for Fernando Rodriguez. He pitched Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday in the Washington series. He's had several weeks like that this year.
And able to maintain his stuff. That's always a challenge for a power guy. It's one thing if you're a finesse pitcher or a sinker baller, you're getting all that work. Usually those guys can handle it. But a guy like Fernando who throws a lot of mid-90s fastball and hard curveballs, you know, you see that workload start to affect him sometimes. You know, when 95 becomes 92 for a guy like Fernando, it becomes fairly hittable. And he's been able to keep his stuff.
One and two to Braun. Braun has struck out 90 times this year. And make it 91. On the curveball. That's 2 strikeouts.
Morris had 7. There's 2 more from Efrod.
Ramirez comes up. He's 1 for 3. .52 appearances for Efrod. Strike 1. A heavy workload for him. He pitched 47 times last year. He's in his 47th inning of work this season. Wesley Wright leads the staff with 56. He leads the National League as well. No balls, 2 strikes.
I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Mississippi.
Oh, how old is Mississippi?
Admitted to the Union on this date in 1821. Same day that Pete Rose set the National League hit record. Maybe more pertinent to the topic at hand.
Fly ball deep. Bogusevic back in left center. For out number 3. It is 3-1 Brewers in the 8th.
Subscribe to MLB.tv today to take advantage of new low pricing and see every remaining Astros out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Go to Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. It's baseball everywhere. Guys, back to you.
Little air guitar action. Thank you, Bart. Bart made a young man's day earlier. Cheered up a little guy in the stands. These folks are very active right now. Hoping that the Astros will be active in the bottom of the 8th inning. Trailing 3-1, and K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, is in the game for Milwaukee. It'll be Carlos Corporon to lead it off. Then Justin Maxwell is on deck, and Altuve batting third.
Rodriguez really has struggled this year. 2-6, 5.48 ERA. He's allowed 12 earned runs in his last 7 appearances.
Oh.
Roughly 6 innings of work.
Carlos Corporon hoping that continues. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI tonight. And he's going to take ball 1. K-Rod has retired the first batter only 29 times in 53 opportunities. It's 1-1. He's 3 for 9 in saves. And this is a guy who has almost 300 saves in his career. Came up at a very young age with a World Series club for the Angels in 2002. At age 20, he became the youngest to win a World Series game in 2002.
And he pitched 5 times in the regular season for the Angels that year, and then 11 times in the postseason. It was 5-1 with a 1.93 ERA in the postseason that year. Punched out 28 in 18 2/3 of an inning while walking only 5. He was quite the phenom.
Well, this year he is not allowed a hit to the Astros in 4 appearances. And twice he's come in with a lead in the late innings and held on to that lead, but it was not the closer's role. He's fallen out of that. Last year he started with the Mets, then he was traded to Milwaukee mid-season, and he was 23 for 29 in saves. But when Milwaukee got him, with John Axford having the year he was having, they made it clear to Rodriguez he was to be a setup man, and he had 17 holds. He did an excellent job down the stretch for the Brewers last year. He has a wicked changeup, but apparently not throwing that pitch all that well this year.
He just threw one there. He had Carlos out in front, but he elevated it. I saw him over there at their place on that last trip, and he threw the ball well.
Yeah, he had 1 hitless inning with 2 strikeouts. Didn't walk anybody in that game. That's ripped on a line, right field corner. It's hooking, and it is oh, how about that? A line drive home run, and Corporon is racing around on this home run trot, number 3 of the year, to cut the lead to 1, 3-2. He didn't want to slow down. Well, that just stayed up. It looked like it was going to come down in the corner.
Into that inside fastball. And initially he probably wasn't sure whether it got out of here or not, so he's going to go hard to make sure he gets his double. And then I think he just said, well, I'm just going to keep on going hard anyway.
Yeah. He didn't want to slow down.
He's going to see if he can go a little faster than Carlos Gomez goes on his home run trots.
Now Justin Maxwell, the pinch hitter. And he takes strike 1. And for Fernando Rodriguez, that was the 3rd long ball for Corporon, giving him 9 runs batted in. Now he has driven in both of the Astros runs in this game, has 2 of their 4 hits. K-Rod missing there. It's 1-1 to J-Max, 249, 12 homers, and he's driven in 37. And lately he has been hitting the ball with authority. 375 in August. It's 1-2. In his last 4 games, Maxwell has gone 9 for 23 with a double, a triple, and 2 homers. Fernando Rodriguez had a 1-2-3-8 with 2 punch-outs. And there is a strikeout. 1 out. Strikeout number 9 for Brewers pitching.
Lopez getting heated up in the Astros pen. Matt Sinatra out there tonight.
Where's Craig Bjornson?
I don't know.
Craig was here last night. Altuve twice is grounded to the pitcher after walking. Rogers in 7 innings allowed 3 hits, 1 run, walking 2, fanning 8. 1 hopper to third. Thomas Ramirez, 2 outs. Now Rogers waiting in the clubhouse to see if this is his first major league win. K-Rod trying to help him out, trying to regroup after the Corcoran leadoff homer. Marwin Gonzalez is next. He's 0 for 3.
Best of his 3 major league starts. Whether Rogers will ultimately be rewarded with the win remains to be seen, but he really threw the ball well tonight.
Jim Henderson is warming up for Milwaukee, and he has become the Milwaukee closer. Showing bunt. Marwin takes ball 1. K-Rod last pitched Monday against Cincinnati. In 1/3 of an inning, he allowed 2 hits and 2 runs. Big leg kick. He's got a lot of moving parts going. 2 balls, no strikes. Greg Wallace is on deck. 2-1. Washington got a run in the top of the 3rd. Giving Arizona 1-0 with Steven Strasburg on the mound. He has not given up a hit through 2. Change up low makes it 3-1. As Henderson waits. Henderson is 2 for 2 in save opportunities. Quite an interesting story. A guy who languished for years in the minors. Hit hard, but Weeks is there to stop it. On over to Hart. And the Corcoran homer in the 8th inning makes it a 1-run lead for Milwaukee. 3-2 going to the 9th.
On Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by the Progressive Insurance Group. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. Carlos Corcoran's home run closes the gap. timed in 17 seconds, which is a new Olympic record for a non-inside the park home run. We just checked with the folks in London. To the top of the ninth, Lopez on. Bill Brown, Jim Deshaies in the booth.
Carlos should have gone into Usain Bolt mode there when he crossed home plate.
Wilton Lopez 3-1 at 2.30 ERA coming in for the ninth inning. Hart, Weeks, and Lucroy due up for Milwaukee. He worked Monday and Tuesday night in the Washington series. Took the loss Monday in the 11th inning. There were a couple of errors, and he allowed an unearned run, and then pitched a scoreless inning Tuesday night. He got a save last Saturday night in Atlanta in the Astros 3-2 win. That was his first of the year. Corey Hart, with the infield shifted around, is 0 for 3 in this game.
Wilton will be the guy that Brad Mills uses to close games, but the opportunity to do that is coming along so infrequently now. Makes all the sense in the world to use him here in this tight game in the ninth.
I bet it does. No balls, 2 strikes. His career against the Brewers, he's 1-0 with a 1.29 ERA for 14 innings, covering 16 games. Rolled out, and he's got a cover now. Here's the throw from Moore. He really slings it over. And there's that play you talked about. Well, the pitcher's got to be alert with Moore stationed so far from the bag.
Yeah, you got to be aware of where everybody is on the field, because a lot of times you just slam on the brakes assuming that's a routine 4-3 putout, but there's no 4 over there. And the first sacker is way off the line, so it really creates an odd angle too. That's the real bugaboo. Once you get over there, it's kind of a funky angle coming from there.
Sure is. Without the first baseman throwing near the line to the pitcher, he doesn't go over and go parallel.
Yeah.
He takes that straight path.
And it's not like he's going to toss you a little underhand flip to lead you to the bag.
Weeks has 3 doubles. There's strike 1. So he took that direct path, but then, as you said, he had to turn back to receive that throw.
It's a tough throw to make for the first baseman.
Yeah. Different angle for him, too. No balls, 2 strikes. Lucroy is on deck. The Brewers about hit the Astros 8-4. Houston has made the only error. In the Astros ninth, they have the 3-4-5 hitters 2 up. Wallace, Pearson, Moore. That's ball 1, and it's 1-2. Strasburg has 3 no-hit innings under his belt with a 1-0 lead for Washington at Arizona. Not even Chris Johnson has a hit.
What's up with CJ?
It's been amazing, isn't it? Struck him out looking. 2 outs. Strikeout number 10 for Astros pitchers.
Weeks had a triple-double prior to that at bat. 3 straight doubles, and then he gets rung up on a pitch he thought was off the plate.
Now 2 outs, and it's Lucroy batting. He's 1 for 3. Since making his D-backs debut July 30th, Chris Johnson is hitting .342, 5 homers, 16 runs batted in 10 games. Ball 1 to Lucroy. Bogasevic a couple of steps toward left center.
CJ keeps going like that, they'll have to make another one of those big legend mascots that they have running around the field there. It's a big unit. Gonzo, Matt Williams, Mark Grace,
Grace, yeah.
Chris Johnson.
Diamondbacks will be here next weekend. Swing and a miss there. And a pitch that ran up toward his chest. 2 balls and a strike to Lucroy. That evens it. 2-2. Segura on deck. Wilton Lopez needed only 15 pitches Tuesday night in his most recent outing. Thrown 11 so far here. Day game coming on Sunday. Struck him out looking. Now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Brewers 3, Astros 2.
August 18th as the playoff push gets into full swing when the Red Sox head to the Bronx to take on the American League East leading Yankees in a showdown between bitter division rivals. Or some of you might see the surprising Pirates battle the Cardinals in St. Louis. Fox Saturday Baseball telecast presented by Budweiser returns August 18th at 2:30 p.m. Central. Less than 2 months left in the regular season. A lot of these races getting very interesting, Bill.
Oh, they are. It's going to be fun with that additional wild card in each league. Rally caps there for the youngsters. And it is John Axford coming in to pitch. Henderson was warming up, but it's going to be John Axford who closed for the Brewers last year and much of this season. He's 18 for 25 in saves, JD.
Yeah, Axford having an off year for sure. ERA of 5.10. He can still get you to swing and miss. His strikeout rate is actually higher this year than it was last year, but he's walking more and he's allowed more home runs. 7 long balls this year in 47 innings of work. Last year he allowed just 4 all year in 73 2/3 innings. Power arm, 96-mile-an-hour fastball, curveball, and a slider. He'll throw the curve usually more than the slider.
Red Wallace leads it off. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. It's ball 1 from Axford. Axford had a string of 49 consecutive saves. Broken. Ended on May 11th against the Cubs. Last year he set a club record with 46 saves. He evens the count at 1-1. His last outing was Wednesday against the Reds. He got a win, working a perfect 8th inning. Gets a strike call there.
Just catches the corner at the knees.
That was the 4th longest save streak in Major League history, the 49 that he had. He was the Rolaids relief man of the year last year. And he tied Craig Kimbrell of the Braves for the league leading saves.
And this year he's just mostly induced his manager to eat Rolaids. It's the irony of that award.
Yes, it is. Well, against the Astros, he has 4 appearances, 4 saves this year. and an ERA of 0.
They're dressed up like the racing sausages.
Yeah, they get the rally sombreros going. Pierce is on deck. Moore due up third. Wallace fights it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Axford trying to work hard in on Wallace here. 2 strikeouts and a walk so far tonight for Brett. K-Rod tried to go in on Corcoran and he paid a price. There they are. They're dressed up like those racing sausage mascots.
Nice.
Chorizo and bratwurst.
Wallace takes, and it's a 3-2 count. When the Brewers have the lead after 8 innings, they're 43-7. Brought calling this 3-2 pitch. Wallace taps the foul.
Yeah, you know, you hear those numbers and it sounds daunting. They're 43-7. It sounds good, but it's far from good. And most clubs, when having the lead going into the 9th inning, lose 2 or 3 games all year.
The Astros have won once when they trailed after 8 innings this year. 1-65. In tight, ball 4, leadoff walk for Wallace. That's the 3rd walk of the game for Brewer pitching.
They're going to run for him with Tyler Green.
Tyler Green is a good base stealer. High percentage. He makes his Astros debut after joining the club today in the trade from St. Louis yesterday. Steve Pierce, the batter, is 0 for 3. Green is 9 for 11 in base stealing this year. He's going. The pitch gets away from Lucroy. He slides into second. He can make third. And now he's going to go to third base without a play. Runner at third, nobody out.
How about that? It was fun to watch the reaction in the Astros dugout as that ball kicked away from Lucroy. Everybody up on that railing, trying to get Green's attention to let him know to go to third base. You got the memo.
Stolen base and a wild pitch on Axford. Now the infielders come in. Runner at third, nobody out. A 1-0 count on Pierce. It's 2-0.
And now what's the confidence level in the breaking ball for Axford?
Exactly.
For fair that another one kicks away and the Astros score the tying run.
You bet.
I mean, you can't shelf it. You got to pitch. You got to use all your pitches.
That was the 8th wild pitch for Axford this year.
But if you're an Astro fan, the hope is, well, he doesn't feel comfortable. Maybe he hangs that breaking ball. Pierce hits it in the seats. We all jump up and down and go home. Oh.
Now 3-0.
Nothing wrong with begging.
Dave Clark talking with Tyler Green. Francisco Rodriguez in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run, no walks, 1 strikeout. Pierce lets a bat get out of his hands as he swings at the 3-0.
Aggressive swinging a high fastball. The good news is he's got 2 more licks at it.
When the Brewers swept Cincinnati, Henderson got the save in a 3-1 win Tuesday, and he got save number 2 in the 3-2 win Wednesday. But now back to Axford. And this one goes out of play, and it's a full count. He is up against it now if he's to get a save here. Astros do not have a walk-off win this year.
That'll be a fun night for the fans. The Astros can pull that off, a walk-off W, and peel back the roof, shoot off some fireworks.
Here's with a bouncer, and that will tie it 3-3 as it goes into center field. An RBI single. He's going to second. Here's a throw from Gomez, not in time. And now the potential winning runs at second base. Green has scored to tie it 3-3. Pierce saw an opening as he turned first. And on the bobble by Gomez, he took second.
Brewers trying to give this ball game away. A leadoff walk, wild pitch. Green goes all the way to third. And now Gomez with the misplay in center. That's just bad baseball instincts there. Why is he looking up on a routine ground ball to center field? There's no way Pierce is going for 2 until the misplay.
Good hustle by Pierce, a single and an error.
He is fired up.
Well, the way they hit gave him a 6-game hitting streak. And more importantly, ties the game. He goes to second on the error for Moore now. Moore bunted for a single in the 5th. He's 1 for 2.
Wesley Wright tweeted the other day after one of those extra inning games with the Nationals, I just want to jump up and down at home plate once this year.
Oh.
This might be the night.
1 to Moore. Axford gets a visitor. Lucroy out.
Action in the pen. I'm assuming Henderson is back up for the Brewers. He was up in the 8th.
It is Henderson.
Presumably in case things continue to go south for K-Rod. Rodriguez got out of the inning. Henderson sat down. Axford got up. Now he's in a pile of trouble.
Bogusevic on deck with Moore batting. And Moore taking ball 2. Lee Tunnell, who was the minor league pitching coordinator, now has come up to be the bullpen coach.
Making his way to the phone, checking with Henderson. You good? You ready to go?
That one's in the air, and Ramirez comes over for it.
Out of play.
Yep. It hit the roof and then came back fair, but it hit the roof above foul territory, so it is a foul ball and no longer in play. If it hits the roof above fair territory, it is in play. 2-1 count.
Been an automatic triple back in the neighborhood when I was a kid.
Well, the Astros would take one of those. So they have to win a game on a crazy bit of fly ball magic like that. They'll take it, whatever it takes.
They still got nobody out in the inning. Productive out here would be fine. Little ground ball to the right side.
Fly ball will do it. Way back into center. Gomez way back. Tremendous catch. Here's the tag at second. And Pierce is coming to third. What a play in center by Gomez to track that down. And it was crushed by Scott Moore, but it was out number 1. That was a fabulous play. But now a runner at third and 1 out.
And Carlos Gomez in the last 2 plays just defined himself as a player for us. The misplay on the routine base hit by Pierce. And then the tremendous athletic play on this deep drive. Good base running here by Pierce. Obviously, if that gets over Gomez's head, he's going to come around and score easily. So get back there, position yourself to tag up. More not the game-winning hit, but a very important deep drive to get Pierce to third base with just 1 out, setting up Brian Bogusevic.
Bogusevic hit that pinch hit game-winning grand slam here last year. I believe that's the last walk-off win the Astros have had. And now the infield is in.
He'll be ready early.
He's 1 for 3. Ball 1. That is the last walk-off hit, and that was against the Cubs last August 16th. It's been a long drought.
Infield in, outfield in. Deep fly ball, run scores easily, so they shorten up in the outfield.
Fernando Martinez on deck. Bogey takes ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
The thing, Axford having a tough year, but he was very good in this role last year. He's got a little bit of experience now. He realizes he doesn't have to give in to Bogusevic. He's got a couple of bases to play with.
Time called. Fans are all standing. It gets quiet. Now we'll rev up a little bit for the 2-0 pitch to Bogey.
He's had good swings tonight.
2-1. He aired that one out. Yeah, that line drive in the 5th inning. He whistled into center field. Really jumped off the bat.
And he lined out to right last time up. Hit that ball in the screws as well.
This crowd just waiting for one that will end this 5-game losing streak. And it's another ball to take it 3-1 now. Brad Mills club has been out hit 8-5, but still has a chance to be very, very happy. Bogusevic grounds one. That'll win it. A walk-off hit for Brian Bogusevic. And the Astros win it 4-3 in the 9th.
There you go, Wesley. Let the scrum begin.
He cannot escape these happy teammates.
In a year of frustration, what a feel-good night. Not only for the players, but the coaching staff, the manager, and the fans here in the ballpark. Fun night. They took that thing all the way to center field.
What a struggle this one was. Falling behind 1-0 in the first, 2-0 in the second. Getting a run in the 5th to make it 2-1. Then it was 3-1 in the 7th. And here's the game winner.
And a situation there where, you've seen managers in the past pull a 5th outfielder or an outfielder into the infield to create a 5 infielder situation. But Axford, a power guy, more of a fly ball pitcher. You don't necessarily anticipate a ground ball there. Don't get hurt.
Oh, what a feeling that has to be for these guys who have worked so hard for win number 37 of the year. Now it finally comes in a dramatic fashion after they got that home run in the 8th from Corcoran to cut it to 3-2. Then they were able to tie it as the leadoff walk to Wallace got things started. Green came in to pinch run. He stole second, then continued to third on a wild pitch. That was very big in the way the inning developed.
Some may say, boy, you guys are acting like you won the World Series. But for this club, with what they've gone through this year, it probably feels like they won the World Series.
Let's find out with Greg Lucas.
I'll tell you what, Brian Bogusevic, you've done this before, won a game like this, but it's been such a strange season. This one was even more exciting for your whole team.
Yeah, this is a good win for us. Everybody knows about our struggles this year. We've played a lot of close games that we haven't come out on top on. And I think this might have been the first walk-off win we've had all year. We've been close a couple times. So, it feels good to play a close game and finally pull one out at the end.
You had actually a strong game all out. You had 2 hits and you hit a 3rd ball very well. You feeling good up there?
Yeah, I felt pretty good today. I've been working a lot, before the games and in batting practice and doing a lot of extra hitting. And, I felt pretty comfortable today.
Tell us about the last at bat. Were you looking for something specific?
Just a strike. That's a situation where there's bases open, and when they're pitching to you, they're going to try to pitch it careful. And I got ahead in the count, and I chased 1-2-0, and I didn't want to do the same thing 3-1. Just put the bat on it, and with the infield in, there's a lot of holes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Make sure you got contact, and you hit it hard enough, even if they hadn't been in, it would have gone through.
Yeah, when you're in that situation, you're just trying for hard contact and hope it finds a hole.
Well, you've done this before, as we remember the big Grand Slam last year. So hopefully you or your teammates can do it more often the rest of the year. That you are correct, by the way. That was the first walk-off of the year.
Thank you. I hope we can, too.
Hey, Brian, thanks a lot for stopping by. Scott Brownie, back to you.
What a finish for these Astros fans. They'll get some fireworks coming up. The roof is rolling back. They already are primed for the show. They got a show from the comeback Astros tonight. A Corcoran 8th inning homer, and then 2 in the 9th to win it on a Bogusevic single. 4-3 the final tonight.